What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. It's a warm one here in Findlay, Ohio, and I'm hanging out in the beer shed getting ready to check out another beer. Now, as this is a Wednesday, the video I'm going to do today is a WTF Wednesday review. For those of you who may be new to the channel, WTF Wednesday is a one day a week when I showcase a beer I normally wouldn't on the program. Sometimes that means I do stuff from the big boys like Bud Miller and Coors. Sometimes I do interesting offerings for microbreweries, and more recently I've been trying to get them passport stamps and get them international beers in. So this one falls into the third category. This is an international beer. So in mid-July, I headed up to Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada with the Ginger Yeti. We went to the Brew Tubers get-together. We also stopped in Brantford, Ontario, Canada, where we visited our friend Brew Watts for beer for breakfast, facts for snacks. And he also has a channel called Watts on the Grill, which is a cooking show. And he gave me this beer in a bag of beers that he gave me when we left his house. So basically, we stopped in Brantford on the way to Niagara Falls because we came up through Detroit, and it's kind of on the way. It was about an hour and change west of Niagara Falls. So we stopped in to see Brew for the evening and his wife. We had a wonderful time, drank way too many beers. And the next day, I was hurting pretty bad. By the time I showed up at the Brew Tubers get together, I was one hurt piece. I couldn't do anything because I was too hungover. So we had too much fun. And he gifted me this. I know we talked about sports before. Obviously, I'm a big fan of any sports-related beers, although I might draw the line at the Toronto Blue Jays as they defeated the Phillies in the 1993 World Series in one of the most crushing moments of my life. The 93 Phillies are my favorite team of all time. They have the great John Kruk, Lenny Dykstra, Curt Schilling, the late Darren Daulton, Jim Eisenreich, Pete Incaviglia, Dave Hollins, Kevin Stocker, Terry Mulholland. All kinds of Philly legends were on that team. And we lost to Joe Carter. I've always jokingly said if I ever saw Joe Carter in person, I'd strangle him for ruining my childhood, and I'm 48, and I will stand by that. Joe Carter, you are the devil. So anyway, Brew, thank you for this beer. Thrilled to be able to try it. This is called Blue Wave Dry Hop Lager. This is from Mill Street Brewing, and they're out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Now, I have had a couple of Mill Street beers before. Usually when I go to Canada, I go just across the river from Detroit to Windsor, and I go to the LCBO or beer stores, wherever you go, and usually you can find Mill Streets. I think I had a mixed maybe 12-pack of them, where there's a bunch of different Mill Streets before. But I haven't had this one, so, happy to be able to give it a shot. You see Blue Wave, and it has the Toronto Blue Jays logo on there, so it's obviously, I'm guessing this is supposed to be something that you drink at a baseball game. When you look at the stats on it, it would probably seem to support this. So it says dry hop lager, 4.8% ABV. Obviously, that's quite sessionable. Anything under 5 is light, in my opinion. I know for some of the European folks, 4.8 might seem normal or even high. In the U.S., I would say 5 is kind of the average beer, and Canada is probably very similar. This also has 30 IBUs. Ratings-wise, does pretty good. Untappd, 3.44. Beer Advocate, 3.56. There was no overall rating there because I think there's only about 5 ratings on Beer Advocate, but Untappd had a couple thousand, so 3.44. Let's look at the can, see if we have anything else of interest on here. It says proud partner, so I guess that means they officially sponsor the Toronto Blue Jays. And just some legalese saying that the Toronto Blue Jays bird head is their trademark and not the brewery's. That's about it. All right, let's get a little bit more ahead on this as I yap through the head. When you first saw this, well, it's going back up again. Let's just start off color. This is very light in color. This is maybe a 2. It's pale straw. I will say this, it's kind of cloudy. You can't really see through it. Head, you saw I poured it, talked a bit, and then re-topped it off. I probably got a finger's worth of decent-looking white head. Nothing magnificent, but it looks okay, especially if we're looking at a ballpark kind of beer, which I think this is supposed to be. Nothing else stats-wise. Let's give it a shot. So, color we talked about, nose. Maybe lightly grassy, slight lemony kind of scent to it, a little bit of a citrus note, but that's kind of it. I saw it said dry hop. Usually dry hop lagers, to me, put off a big hop scent, and you might get a slight little hop scent on this, but it's nothing too crazy, which I'm happy with. Yeah, it smells all right. It smells like beer. Let's give it a shot. Cheers. Body on this is lighter, but I wouldn't say it's light. It's probably on the You know, if you have light, medium, and then full bodied, it's probably on the low end of medium, right on the cusp between light and medium. But it's okay. It's not distracting. And again, if this is supposed to be like a ballpark type lager, I'm okay with a lighter body on it. Flavors, there's not a whole heck of a lot going on there, to be honest. I'm not sure how this gets a 3.44. I mean, I wonder if this is something you buy at the ballpark and you're excited to be at the Blue Jays game, and you give it a 5, and you say go Blue Jays or whatever, right? Flavors, you got a couple of things going on. I think you definitely get a light kind of grainy malt. You definitely get some citrus notes, and I think it's probably more lemony. Yet maybe a little bit of lemon and maybe a little bit of, I don't know if it's like an orange rind, but it's like slightly bitter citrus kind of taste. Carbonation rather low. I expected a lot more bubbles and a lot more going on in there. Usually when you get ballpark style beers, they tend to be over carbonated in my experience. This, on the other hand, is okay. It's not too overly carbonated. What else is going on? You do definitely get a hop finish. I mean, you definitely pick up the hop, so the dry hop bit shines through. It's not super dominant. I would say nothing is super dominant in this. Most of the things are just kind of here. Now, for a ballpark beer, sometimes that's what you want. Now, if I was putting this in, the Great American Beer Festival or something, I'd say, it probably lacks a bit in flavor. But if this is something that you drink at a ballpark while you're out in the heat enjoying a game or whatever it might be, I think it fits the bill. Is it the best beer I've ever had? Certainly not. But it's middle of the road. Okay. I mean, it's an okay alternative if instead of drinking, I guess I would say Bud Miller or Coors, but if you're in Canada, Labatt, Molson, and Moosehead or whatever, whatever you guys drink up there is your kind of generic macro lagers. I think this is better than those. Is it much better? No, probably slightly better. 3.56, 3.44. I think those ratings are a wee bit high. I'd probably give this a 3. I think it's a middle of the road beer. If I'm going Untappd, my between 1 and 5 scale, most beers to me are a 3. They're okay. They fit the bill. I think this is where this would be. That being said, if I had to rate it, what would I give it? I would give it a thumbs up. I think it is what it says that it is. It is what it's designed to be. It's supposed to be a sessionable lager that's slightly different than some of the macros. And I think you do get that because you get some grassiness, you get some citrus, you get a little bit of a hoppy finish, which sets it apart from kind of the generic macro beers and all caps. You know what I mean? If I was at a ball game, you could do a lot worse than this. So thumbs up for me. Hopefully you like the video. If you do, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. And as always, if you got any comments or questions, jump in down below. And Brew, I appreciate the beer, my friend. If you're not checking out Brew Watch channel, I'll throw the logos up here in either corner. Then I'll throw links down below. So like I said, one is Beer for Breakfast, Facts for Snacks, which is just his general channel. And the other is Watts on the Grill, W-A-T-T-S. Brew Watts on the Grill, where he and his wife do all kinds of cooking stuff. The other day, I saw they did some, what the heck were they making on there? I know they did a bunch of steaks. They were cooking up some bacon-wrapped water chestnuts. And I actually got to try those when I was at his house. I don't mind water chestnuts in Chinese food, and I tend to like bacon. When I heard the combination, I thought, no, this is terrible. I would never eat such a thing. Then about 6, 7 beers in, I said, those look tempting. And I ate one and was like, damn, these are good. So, Brew always says, try something different. I did in that instance. I tried the bacon-wrapped water chestnut and loved it. I was shocked. I came home and told my wife, and she's like, what? I wouldn't think they'd go together. I was like, make it. They work. It's pretty good. So check his channels out. And, if you want to like and sub to this one as well. Hey, till next time. Cheers. Go Phillies.